Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at a really striking piece of architecture in Seattle, the Amazon spheres.
Yeah, we've got this article detailing someone's visit, calls it a green paradise, right in the middle of everything.
So our mission really is to unpack that. We'll dig into the history, why they were built, the unique design, what it's actually like inside.
And, what kind of impact they've had on Seattle itself.
And the source really hits on this aha moment, this pretty wild idea of putting a tropical forest inside a corporate building downtown. Let's get into it.
Okay, so it really kicks off with Amazon just growing incredibly fast. Early 2010s, they had offices everywhere in Seattle.
Scattered all over. They need to bring it all together, right? A central HQ.
Exactly. So they launched this big new campus project in the Denny Triangle area.
And the spheres were planned as the standout feature.
Absolutely the centerpiece, not just another office building. The idea, and the source really emphasizes this, was for employees to literally work among the plants.
Huh. Trying to foster something different than cubicle life.
Yeah. Right. It ties into that concept of biophilia, this idea that humans have an innate need to connect with nature. The designers thought tapping into that could boost creativity, maybe well-being.
It's a cool concept. You're trying to bring nature into the sterile office zone and the design itself. Well, you can't miss it. 3 giant glass domes all connected.
Oh, yeah, they totally dominate that skyline now. The architects were a local Seattle firm, NBBJ.
What was their inspiration?
Well, they looked at traditional greenhouses, obviously, but then pushed it toward a much more organic, almost bubble-like form. Getting it approved involved a lot of back and forth with the city's design review board.
Ah, so the city had input on how it would, interact with the street.
Definitely. That's partly why you have public elements like some retail spaces and the Understory Exhibit.
Right, the understory. That's the visitor center bit.
Exactly. It explains the whole project, the plants, it's the public face. There's a quote in the source from Dale Alberta, the lead designer, about wanting to bring nature to the heart of the city for creativity. That blend was key.
The article also mentioned some technical stuff. Catalan geometry, pentagonal frames.
Yeah.
Sounds complex.
It was. Not your standard build.
Yeah.
Catalan geometry helps create those curved shapes using minimal material for strength, allows for all that glass. And the steel pentagons are the skeleton holding it up. It's pretty high-tech engineering meeting this very natural-looking form.
And the source makes an interesting comparison, linking the spheres to the Space Needle.
Yeah, that's a neat point. The Space Needle represents that mid-century World's Fair, forward-looking ambition, futuristic for its time.
Okay.
The spheres, they represent maybe a different kind of modern ambition, blending the tech giant, Amazon, with nature. So yeah, 2 symbols for 2 different eras of Seattle's identity.
Okay, so we know why they were built and how, but what's it actually like inside this urban jungle?
It's meant to feel like stepping into another world. The climate is tightly controlled, think high-altitude cloud forest. Daytime, it's around 21 to 24 Celsius, 60% humidity.
At nighttime.
Humidity bumps up to 80%. Helps the plants thrive.
So you notice the air change.
Instantly. And the smells-rich soil, plants. You hear water features, leaves rustling. It feels very lush, alive.
And the scale is massive, right? Something
Yeah.
like 40,000 plants?
Over 40,000, yeah, from about 30 countries. It's like a living museum.
Yeah.
You got huge statement trees like Ruby, this massive 17-meter fig tree,
Wow.
but also tiny, rare species, some important for conservation. And it's not just for looking at.
Right. People actually work there.
Exactly.
Right.
Desks are tucked in among the plants. There are winding paths, benches, even these cool bird's nest seating areas high up.
Yeah.
And a huge living wall, multiple stories tall.
So workspace is woven right into the greenery.
Plus, the source mentions food options from Chef Renee Erickson are available inside, making it feel even more like its own little ecosystem.
Okay, that gives a good sense of the inside.
Yeah.
But stepping back out, how do the spheres fit into the wider city of Seattle? What's their impact there?
Well, they were definitely designed to engage with the public, not just be a private bubble. We mentioned the retail, the restaurants, that Understory Exhibit. Those are open to everyone.
And they connect to the sidewalks, a park.
Right, integrated into the streetscape. And the article does note they've played a role in revitalizing that whole Denny Triangle neighborhood. It looks very different now.
So they've become a big symbol for Seattle's changes.
A very visible one, yeah. Symbolizing the huge growth driven by tech. Now, the source is fair. It points out this transformation isn't simple. Developments like the spheres bring innovation, yes, but Seattle also faces big challenges like housing costs and inequality.
So the spheres kind of embody both the excitement and the tensions of that tech boom.
I think that's a good way to put it. They represent that blend of tech, nature, and urban renewal, but also the complexities that come with it. And there's hope, maybe through educational programs linked to the understory, they can foster more community connection too.
So when you boil it down, the spheres seem like this bold statement about maybe the future of work, the future of cities, where nature and innovation aren't separate things.
They really do feel like that. Which leads to a really interesting question for you, the listener, to think about, considering this example. How do you think big corporate projects like this should integrate with nature and public city spaces moving forward?
Yeah, how do we get that balance right? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.